Hello, everybody. Guess what day it is? It's your favorite day. No, it's not the day of the Pittsburgh Pile Driver podcast. Not the normal day, at least. It's a bonus show. That's right. We have a bonus show for you, fine, uh,
Philanderers.
feather philanderers. That's right. Keep your dicks in your pants and listen to this show because this is a bonus show. We've got Team Salt and Pepper rolling hard. It's Tigerbomb Tom and Alec Ransom, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk to you about things. Maybe it's wrestling, maybe it's not. We don't even know.
Yeah.
But stick around because it might be entertaining or, might not. Hard to say.
So
It's hard to say.
So speaking of hard to say whether it was entertaining or not. I didn't get to watch it, but I've heard about Extreme Rules. Let's get into it. Let's just
listen.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I did. Here's what happened. I got laid off last Monday because of COVID and our business was slow and mismanaged, and so laid off. So I thought, you know what I got to do? I'm eligible for unemployment, but I'm not one to milk the system, and I do want to save as much money as I can. So I'm going to cut back on some of my subscription services that I don't really use $100 every day. And WWE is one of those. Because let's face it, I don't watch WWE every day. I can't bring myself to do it. So I unsubscribed from it. Now, I thought I had until the end of the month, but apparently I didn't. So I wrestled with the decision.
See what he did
and
there.
I resubscribed. Oh, I didn't even mean to do that. Well done. Well caught. I didn't even catch that. So I resubscribed for the WWE Network so I could watch the horror show. Because I wanted to see how they were going to resolve this Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins thing. Honestly, that's the only thing I wanted to see.
Right.
Now, the rest of the pay-per-view was very good. The matches were good. The Swamp Wizard fight episode, segment, whatever you want to call it, that was fantastic. It really was an overall wonderful pay-per-view. But the only reason I actually watched is because I needed to see what they were going to do with that stupid eye for an eye match. I couldn't, for the life of me, think of what they were going to do. And they did the dumbest thing ever. Now, I'm sure we're going to cover this on the regular podcast with the other guys, and I don't know what they're going to say, but we spent 2 episodes, and I think at least 2 episodes, we talked about it, like how they were going to possibly do it. It's supposed to be PG, but the only way to win is to take the eye from your other opponent. But there can't be blood.
Right.
And like, is Seth Rollins going to wrestle with an eye patch then? Is Rey, like, what's going to happen? And it was the dumbest outcome. Did you see what happened?
I didn't see, but I heard about it. I was listening. I was listening to other podcasts. I was trying to. It was a slow day at work, and so I had time to catch up on your guys' latest episode with the predictions and everything. And I also had time to catch a little bit of Busted Open because, admittedly, when I kind of tuned out after the last Blood Money show, I kind of I kind of just stopped. I stopped listening to the other wrestling podcasts and stuff like that too, because I'd like to get a wealth of perspectives from. If I wasn't necessarily on an episode with you guys, I like hearing your guys' take, because obviously we kind of usually run around a similar mindset with some varying opinions and stuff like that, and we all kind of end up having some interesting perspectives. And then obviously I like hearing from people who are in the business or have been in the business and stuff. So I do listen to Bully Ray, and hey, shout out to Dave LaGreca for actually friending me on Facebook. Hot damn. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, I know, right? It was like random. I was just like, fuck it, I'll send him a friend request. He's not gonna accept it. He did. I was like, oh, okay then. Now,
wow, dang.
I mean, we're not going grabbing beers and giving each other stunners and fucking crotch chopping and shit. But I mean, it's still kind of cool to be like, hey, I'm fucking Facebook friends with Dave LaGreca, so why not?
Yeah, right.
But so I was listening to their take on it, and from what they described, it was basically a repeat of how Ray got his first eye blinded, but there was like nowhere near as gory. Like apparently there was like more blood and stuff the first time around whenever it happened on Raw, which I did not see because I haven't watched a Raw since I can't even fucking remember when now, and and they did like some stupid like golf ball or something, I don't know, like, and then Seth was puking. I'm like, I was just, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't see the first. I heard how they did the first one.
Okay.
You know, when he like almost like when he did like the stomp almost or whatever on the steel steps.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it. This one, there was no blood. I don't know if there was blood on the Raw one.
That's what I heard there was.
There was no blood on this, and he didn't stomp him. It was Rey was down over near the steps. Seth grabbed Rey's head, and was trying to almost like force it towards the corner of the step, and then you could see it very blatantly didn't. It was very obvious he didn't push his eye into the corner of the step, but to the side of the step to avoid actually injuring this man's eyeball.
Right.
Pushes it in. Rey grabs his eye and backs up. Rey and his moans are the worst.
I hate it.
It's almost like part midget moan. It's like, what? Okay, whatever. I don't know. But still, like, that's what it reminds me of. I'm like, anyway. So Rey's yelling and screaming. Seth backs up to run at him and do a stomp.
Yeah.
So Seth runs, stops mid-run, looks, gets all horrified, freaks out, turns around, and pukes. Match over. Like, that's it. Match over.
That's
and you
great.
can hear, I don't know which one of the announcers it was. One of the announcers goes, "It's out! It's out!
That was
His
Joe.
eye is out!"
I heard about that. That it's out. It's Joe. And then of course the obligatory after match. You can't say hospital. Rey was rushed to a medical facility.
Yep.
Oh my God, jeez. So like the local Med Express is going to be able to deal with like fucking eyeball repair. They said, but the optical nerve was still intact. Okay, now number one, if somebody's eyeball is going to pop out, generally pushing the steel steps into it, even if let's just say, let's take kayfabe out of it and say somebody was actually going to like fucking take your eyeball out or whatever. Pushing your eyeball into the corner of something is not necessarily going to pop it out.
No,
now
it's going to damage it, sure.
I mean, I'm not a physics major, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have we complained about that in like video game logic? I was like, video game logic. That's exactly what I would chalk this up to. I'd be like, 2K20 logic. Let's go with that. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
And then
Joe's saying, it's out, his eye is out. But later on they say, oh, he was rushed to a medical facility and the optic nerve might still be intact, and they might be able to sound like, oh, okay, so Rey Mysterio is going to come back with some gauze on his eye for a couple weeks, and then we're going to forget this ever happened.
That's the dumbest fucking thing ever. Like, oh my God.
Boom, there it was. That was your eye for an eye match. Done.
That's so many things with like just misbooking stuff like that. Like,
yeah, it's exactly like we talked about whenever they called Edge versus Orton the greatest wrestling match ever.
Oh my God.
You're setting it up to be a disappointment, and this was disappointing. Now, the match itself might not have been bad, like the overall from start up until it's out, his eye is out.
Right.
It might not have been bad.
It's out. His dick is out.
Oh, there it is.
There's your first dick reference.
The dickening.
The dickening part 3. Electric Dick Boogaloo.
Oh, but like they hyped it up so much, and the two things will always remain in my mind on this match, and I think at the end of the day, this is what I'll remember most about this match here is Seth Rollins puking. Now, shouldn't we be in a state of heightened awareness over fluids because of this COVID thing?
Yeah.
Nope, Seth Rollins is just going to vomit.
everywhere.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. He's just gonna vomit.
Here's
We'll get some Clorox spray out there. Don't worry.
I have a question on that though. How did he bring himself to puke in the first place? That's what I want to know. Like, because I'm sure he didn't have like like if you watch the like old SNL skits and stuff like that with like Will Ferrell, they have like the obligatory hose coming up through the shirt sleeve sort of thing. So like I'm wondering how they did that. Like, I
don't know. I mean,
I'd have to go back and watch, but I gotta say if he just maybe he like shoved his finger down his throat and made himself puke, I'm kind of impressed.
Maybe. I mean, it looked like he was trying to force it a lot because now this is one of those statements where I don't have anything to back it up with, but like it was just like a little bit, like like a little bit. Like it wasn't like a projectile vomit. It was almost like he was struggling to get something up.
Yeah.
To manufacture this throw up so that he could show how horrified and disgusted he was.
Right.
So that number one takeaway is that. Pardon me. And number two takeaway is halfway through the match, they're fighting on the outside, and I don't even know. Seth was going after Rey, and you could hear plain as day. Seth go, "I'm gonna get that eye." And those are the two things I'm gonna remember about this match: is Seth Rollins vomiting in the middle of a COVID pandemic. When we should probably not be, trying to transmit fluids openly out in the air. And him saying in the middle of the match, "Oh, I'm gonna get that eye." It was bad. It really was.
I'm gonna get that eye.
For all of the things that we talked about, how they were gonna resolve it, like Rey wrestling with, the mesh over both masks and kind of being like a height. We went all out on this in series. We did. We theorized this way more than we needed to because they had the lamest ending ever.
Yep.
We said, well, Rey can wrestle with, two meshes in his mask and, kind of like be like Daredevil, almost have a heightened sense of awareness and, really legit like turn into this superhero. Or Seth can wrestle with an eye patch for a couple weeks and do the Monday Night Messiah thing where he heals himself. I've healed myself. I am the true Monday Night Messiah.
Yeah.
We even went as far as to say, oh, this could be like like Otis's wet dream, or one of the Viking Raiders wakes up at the end of this match cuddling a turkey leg, going, oh, like it was a nightmare.
Like
goes back up with a turkey leg and goes back to sleep.
Like a la Super Mario Brothers 2. That was my theory.
Yes.
That was my original guess when I very first heard about this eye for an eye match, which again. Terrible gimmick booking when you could have just as easily, if you wanted this to be, granted, I know they don't normally go for color anymore, but you could have made it you could have made it a first blood match. You could have made it a TLC match or whatever. Now I know, granted that what did Dolphin Drew end up doing? What was the stipulation with that?
See, that was a lot more creative than this match.
Okay.
Like that was, I'll give them that on the creativity level of that. Because the way that when Dolph came out and revealed the stipulations, he said it is going to be an Extreme Rules match for Dolph Ziggler. So basically what it was Dolph Ziggler couldn't be counted out, disqualified. He could use anything he wanted to. It was basically Extreme Rules for him, but for Drew McIntyre, it was a regular match.
Right.
So if Drew McIntyre used a weapon, he was disqualified. And if he got disqualified, he lost the title. If he gets counted out, he loses the title. Basically, the only way for Drew McIntyre to win is a legit normal rules, pinfall, or submission.
Right.
So that was very creative, and kudos to them in that match, because with that sort of stipulation, you really could say, like, oh, okay, Dolph Ziggler might have a chance of actually winning this. Because he could do any sort of underhanded tactic and win and get the title. He could even keep himself and Drew McIntyre, which I believe he did at some point, outside the ring. Because if Drew got counted out, he would lose the title. But Dolph Ziggler couldn't get counted out. So I think at one point, Dolph Ziggler was trying to keep Drew McIntyre physically out of the ring, just so that Drew McIntyre would get counted out and Dolph Ziggler would win the title.
Right.
So very creative. That was a great match from start to finish. I think it was very entertaining. I have no complaints about that match at all.
I heard about the fuckery at the end of the Sasha Banks match or whatever, which I mean, from
No,
the
I
end.
don't even know about that. Can you tell me about that? Because I actually went and got a shower during that match.
I guess
I
what
thought it was a
happened
foregone
was
conclusion.
that Bailey ended up like coming down, sporting a referee shirt, and made a count, and Sasha walked away with the title, but there was never like any official, like there was no ring bell announcement, there was no actual official that made the count. It was Bailey that did it, and basically Sasha just kind of like hijacked the title.
Oh,
So then it was kind of like, well, now what's going to happen? So they basically did that to kind of make you have to tune into Monday Night Raw last night, which I had it on as background noise for a little bit, but I didn't get to see the Sasha and Bailey segment. Apparently, Stephanie McMahon appeared on the Titantron and basically said Sasha was not the champ. I don't know.
oh.
I don't know what resulted after that. Like, I don't know what happened if if Asuka came down and got the title back off of her, or if they set up like some sort of match, or I don't know what happened. I just know is that Sasha is not actually the Raw Women's Champion right now. So
So there was definitely some tomfoolery going on there.
yeah, there was some fuckery for sure.
Oh,
I know you guys probably won't touch on it over the on the next podcast, but I want to give a little a wink and a nod to TNA. Or Impact, whatever you want to call it, but either way, Impact with Slammiversary over the weekend, because they had some fucking names show up. A lot of former WWE people. Eric Young was there. Now I don't know.
he went back.
Yeah, now I don't know. I don't know how long some of these people went back or not, or have been back. But Eric Young was there. EC3
Now, did
had.
Eric Young wrestle, or did he just like show up?
No, he wrestled. Yeah, he was actually in a match. I don't know what all the matches were. I do know the results of some things. Like I know Eddie Edwards won the world championship. So kudos to him. He's kind of
Okay.
he's kind of been carrying that. He's kind of been the face carrying the company there since pretty much since AJ's been gone. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
He's really good. If there's anybody that you would want to watch in Impact, it would definitely be him for sure. He's really good talent. But he won. Deonna Purrazzo, she got let go with all the big mass release during the COVID stuff for from NXT and everything. And I don't know how long she's been over there in Impact. I think she's been over there for a little bit. I don't know how soon after the those releases. I think the NXT people were like 30-day clauses or something.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the details on those.
Yeah, but but basically she went back. She went over to Impact again, and she ended up winning the Knockouts title off of Jordan Grace.
Okay.
So there was that. Gallows and Anderson ended up signing like literally like 15 or 16 hours before the freaking show. Like, so they're
wow.
so they're over there. So yeah, the Good Brothers are there. EC3, Eric Young. Fuck, I know there's somebody I'm missing, and I can't think of it. Deonna Purrazzo and God, I want to say there's one more, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But by all accounts, Slammiversary was a damn good show, and it was kind of one of those things like if you didn't watch Impact on Tuesday nights because you don't have access or whatever, like it definitely made you want to kind of tune into it because they did a phenomenal job by all accounts from what I've heard. So
Nice. Now, yeah, I'm not surprised that Eric Young and EC3, because EC3 was there before he went to WWE, right?
he was, and the crazy thing is like he was there. I mean, he was there in Impact. So well, okay, so I think first he was, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was in developmental with WWE first, and then
okay.
they had nothing. They didn't, nothing panned out, whatever. No, I mean this is before. I think I want to say this is before the days of like when like NXT is what it is now. Like it was before then. I want to say it was still like whenever it was like still really
like OVW
developmental
or something.
maybe like OVW, maybe kind of like borderline FCW. That might have been like, he wasn't on TV or whatever if NXT had just started, but either way, he was into the developmental at one point with WWE. They had nothing for him. He went over to Impact, built up a name over there, became like a main event player, had alliance with like he was I believe he was supposed to be like Dixie Carter's nephew or something like that. They gave him a big push, world championship title run, stuff like that. Then he comes back to NXT and thinking like, okay, maybe they have something for me this time. And NXT, he wasn't down in NXT long. Then he got brought up onto Monday Night Raw, put in fucking no card obscurity, and fucking wasted away. And then goes right back to Impact. I can't blame him. I mean, I
here's the thing that I don't understand about him now.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about him, so I don't know what his in-ring work looks like. I don't know what his mic work looks like. I just know the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know him to see him. Now, just going off of the visuals, he seems like a guy that would be right up Vince McMahon's alley.
Oh, yeah.
Huge guy, lots of muscles, really defined. He seems like one of those guys Vince McMahon would look at and go, this guy's money. And they do nothing with him.
Yep.
So did he get on someone's bad side? Is he trash in the ring? Is he trash on, I don't understand what it is. They still pay David Otunga. He's the worst wrestler ever. I don't know who was worse than him. Santino Marella was a better in-ring worker. Comedy shtick aside, legit, if he wrestled a legit match, non-comedy, Santino Marella was a better wrestler than David Otunga.
Oh, yeah.
Enzo Amore, who is, by all intents and purposes, hot buttered garbage in the ring, is better than David Otunga. And they still employ David Otunga. I don't understand.
I mean, Enzo at least had the mic chops. I mean, nobody could touch Enzo on the mic.
Otunga suck on the mic.
Yeah,
he still does.
Complete fantasy booking. It would have been a cool spot to see at one point if they still had had Enzo in high regards. Having Enzo and The Rock have some sort of segment together.
Oh yeah, I mean anything where he could get in the ring and talk.
Yeah.
Would be great. I mean, his in-ring work was not good.
Right.
But mic work, man, he was just spot on with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He was a fucking Jedi on the mic. So, I mean, but I
don't understand EC3. I don't get it. I don't know why they didn't use it.
I don't know either. I always I mean, again, I never watched a whole lot of Impact, but what little I did see of him, whenever he was over there in Impact the first time, I mean, it seemed legitimate to me. Like he made me, he had a believable character and everything. But now the important thing will be he's been kind of back and forth. He's got a lot of venom and vitriol, and you can see it in his eyes. They need to fucking let him just cut loose and just fucking just absolutely destroy somebody, through promos, whatever.
They need to do to him what ECW did with Steve Austin.
Yeah.
When ECW got Steve Austin from WCW, they just let him come out and go nuts.
Yeah.
And he did. He let loose, and it worked.
We were talking about him recently. You could compare EC3 to how Taz was, in ECW with just that fucking that anger and that just resentment to everyone and everything, and everybody's fucking holding him back. Now the important thing is you gotta book him right. You gotta get him a good opponent standing across from him, in the rings. So that's half the battle there too. I think I can't say that was the problem for him in NXT or anything like that, because there's a fucking wealth of talent. And I mean, if we've seen anything in NXT, they can take and switch a character around if they need to, but generally their stuff, like it's a little bit of a slow burn at times, but they really make you come around on people. Like I mean,
Oh yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was either. I have no idea. But if I had Access TV, I'd probably tune in and take a peek real quick and see what's going on with Impact. So yeah, kudos.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what they do with EC3 and also the Good Brothers.
Yeah, that'll be Oh, that's who else was there. Another tag team, Motor City Machine Guns.
Now, where were they before Impact?
So I don't know.
I thought they were always there, but I haven't followed Impact very closely at all, so I don't know.
I thought they were always there for a long time. However, they were actually in NXT for like a hot second because they had what's his name, Alex Shelley, I think.
Okay.
If that's the one guy, Alex, or maybe they had the Time Splitters reunite. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, they had the Time Splitters reunite. They had Alex Shelley and Kushida reunited in NXT for a hot minute. I know Alex Shelley was at the house show that I went to whenever NXT came to Pittsburgh, because I saw him there, and I'm trying to. I want to say it was him and Kushida. They had them as the Time Splitters there. So I don't know who the other. I know I should know this, and I feel like blasphemous for even saying, but I don't know who the other member from Motor City Machine Guns was. Alex Shelley and whoever else.
I don't know either. I couldn't tell you.
I just know every time we talk about Motor City Machine Guns. What?
Yeah.
But
Mordor City Machine Guns.
Exactly. Oh my God, that should be you and Beef's tag team name.
Oh, the Mordor City Machine Guns.
I would gladly join that team, but I'm nowhere close to Mordor. I mean,
listen, I'm just gonna say this, and I'm sure I'm gonna have a fight with at least Beef. I don't know about Poot, but at least Beef on the next show. I don't recognize the outcome of that eye for an eye match as what makes me lose my cruiserweight title. I don't. I don't. Because it was stupid. It was so dumb. Like, it was just the dumbest thing. After all the talk we did, all the speculating, and it was just the worst cop-out ending ever. I don't recognize it. I don't. And I'll hold that title hostage, and I don't give a shit what Beef says. No. No, I don't. No.
Fight him.
Nope.
For real.
I will. No. You come to Mordor and fight me. We'll have a Mordor City Machine Gun match, and I will win, and don't test me. Like, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna. We're gonna fight about it, and it's gonna be a thing, and he's gonna claim that it's illegitimate, and it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I do not recognize the outcome of that match. It was that stupid. You build this pay-per-view as the horror show around an eye for an eye match. Honestly, that's the only reason to build the pay-per-view the horror show.
Right.
Over everything else that happened. Now, I get it. Like the swamp fight's kind of like, maybe Jason Voorhees-esque almost, like a Friday the 13th ish.
Right.
Maybe. But when I think horror show and all of the matches on the card, the match that goes to the top of that list is the eye for an eye match, because you literally have to take someone else's eye to win that match, which didn't happen. No blood. Seth Rollins vomited. I'm gonna get that eye. What a terrible match.
I can't get over that. I'm gonna get that eye.
If you go back and watch that match, just watch to that point.
Oh, God.
Just watch till he said, like, that's it. Like, you can turn it off at that point, because the ending is just ridiculous. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Of all the options they had, that's what they went with. Just the dumbest outcome ever. No blood, no nothing. Like, you have all of these capabilities to do these cinematic matches. And I would say probably the best cinematic match that I've ever seen happened at this pay-per-view, which was the Swamp Fight, which is probably the most epic cinematic match that WWE has put on.
Right.
So don't tell me that you couldn't have done a cinematic match with this eye for an eye, or even even the end of the match just could have been the cinematic part where you CGI'd something.
Right. I mean,
Nope.
like I'm interested to see any of the cinematic matches because again, I hadn't watched. I said that I said that after the fucking He Who Shall Not Be Named had beat the Fiend. I swore it off until WrestleMania, and then fucking COVID happened, and then WrestleMania was like in front of not a crowd, and
Yep.
I honestly hadn't been compelled to like regularly watch. Now I mean I did watch some of I watched some of Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen with AEW, but I mean honestly, like I've been kind of tuned out, but I keep hearing little bits of things here and there through through listening to your guys' takes on stuff and just just general interwebs whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
As far as cinematic matches go, this is the best one.
okay,
That's in my opinion. This was the best. And the Undertaker AJ Styles cinematic match was great.
that's what I've
So,
heard.
but
Yeah.
I would put that just slightly below this swamp fight.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in the swamp fight. I'm interested in the boneyard match, and definitely interested in the Cena Bray Wyatt one from WrestleMania because I just really wanted to see it and I never got around to watching it.
Watch the swamp one last. Do
Okay.
yourself a favor, because if you watch it first, the other ones might be a little bit disappointing.
How many have they done? They've done probably what, at least like one cinematic match, like a pay-per-view, more or less.
I'd say so. The ones that I can remember are, hold on, let me think here. They did the Boneyard match and the Bray Wyatt Cena match at WrestleMania. Those were two cinematics.
Okay, that's right. Those were both at WrestleMania. Okay.
They did the Money in the Bank ladder match at Money in the Bank was a cinematic match.
Oh, was it? Okay.
They had an unadvertised cinematic match between the Viking Raiders and who are those dudes that are like frat guys that always have like the cups?
The Street Profits. Yeah.
Yep. They did like an impromptu. I don't know if it was advertised. I don't remember it being advertised because we didn't like call picks or anything for it.
Right.
But that was a cinematic match, which was the goofiest thing. Like, it wasn't a match. It was very goofy and meant to be a comedy, and they pulled it off extremely well. I mean, it was very funny and very entertaining. So I wouldn't write that one off. That was definitely a good one to watch.
Okay.
I was entertained through the whole thing. It was pure comedy and, above and beyond. Jim Cornette probably lost his mind over it.
Motherfucker.
But it really was the funniest thing.
I'll kill you. Come fuck my wife.
This is the worst thing. I'll send you pictures of her.
Speaking of tag team, Cesaro and Shinsuke, I think they won the tag team titles.
Yeah, I didn't know that was supposed to be a match.
Yeah.
I don't think we picked that one either.
I don't remember hearing you guys make picks for that one, but yeah, it's the interesting little combination there. Poor Cesaro though, never gonna get out of it, like being stuck in either a tag team or like mid card title. I feel for the guy.
Yeah, and I feel bad for him, and at the same time, I also feel bad for Shinsuke Nakamura because it seems like, and look, I know this is a dead horse that I beat, but it can't be ignored. It really can't.
No, it can't.
Shinsuke Nakamura was one of the hottest talents in NXT. He comes to the main roster, and when he does, he's still pretty much a big deal.
Right.
But that seemed to fizzle out very, very fast.
Yep.
And some of the previous things that he's been in, he's a tag team champion now with Cesaro. Poor Cesaro can't catch a singles break to save his life. I don't know why. Anytime I see him in the ring, he's very entertaining. He's clean. I don't see anything sloppy from him ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is 100% on point in the ring every time he gets in there. But Shinsuke, man, like he was relegated to the guy who was known for giving low blows. Like, that became his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to kick you into PP. That's my thing now. Shinsuke Nakamura, one of the most dominant NXT champions in history. Now my gimmick is, kicking you into PP. Great.
Yep. King of Strong style turns to King of Dong style.
Yeah.
That's Joey Ryan. But anyways.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, let's not talk about that. So yeah, what a waste there. And then he gets put in this 3-man stable with him and Sami Zayn, and who was the third guy? Sami Zayn wound up winning the Intercontinental title that one time. It was like the three of them versus Braun Strowman or somebody.
Yeah. It was the three of them versus Braun.
But I can't remember who the third guy in that was.
No, that was it. It was Sammy, Shinsuke, and Cesaro.
There was a, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, poor Cesaro, man. But like, you've you took one of the hottest guys that was on NXT and relegated him to this.
Yep.
Why? And the same thing with Eric Young. That Sanity group in NXT was fantastic.
Oh my God, they were amazing. I wish they would have stayed together and kept Nikki Cross in there, because how many times in recent history can you recall? Probably not since the Attitude Era, and probably not since really with China, have you seen a dominant stable that had a female wrestler in it as well too, like a male,
equally as dominant as any of the guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like a male stable that had a female wrestler in it. I can't recall one. I mean,
no, I can't either. And she wasn't just a valet. She wasn't just an eyepiece. Like, she was a legit wrestler. She would get in and do her crazy Nikki Cross stuff, and beat the tar out of people.
Right.
She fit in very well with Sanity. Was a great group, and I would have loved to have seen, a big package on the main roster of Sanity versus Undisputed Era. I think they would have torn it down.
Yeah.
They would have had great promos back and forth with each other. They would have had great packages with each other. There could be singles titles involved, tag team titles involved. My goodness, the things you could have done with those two stables. Like, they really could have ran roughshod. And it brings me back to my fear of when the Undisputed Era leaves NXT. Now, like, Beef and Poot are all on this thing of, Adam Cole being on another level. And, he's so much higher above than Shinsuke Nakamura or Joe, Kevin Owens. Think of the dominant NXT champs. Who's the guy with the paint on his face? Dang it, I can't.
Wait, hold on now. What? Who?
Not the Fiend, the other guy. The Demon, Finn Balor.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was like
Finn Balor.
I was like, who are we going for here?
Yeah, right, yeah. But all these guys went from NXT as dominant NXT champions, guys who held the title and dominated with that title. They go to the main roster and just flub it.
Yep. And I think that harkens back to still the disconnect that there is with like Vince recognizing the talent down in NXT. I think he just kind of pulls from it and says, "Hey, Hunter, give me a couple guys that you think are ready or whatever." Or maybe he sees a little bit like, okay, I want this guy, but then he doesn't utilize him because he's not, and I'm glad for this. In a way, he's not involved with NXT down there, with the creative down there and stuff. That's Hunter, that's Sean, that's Road Dogg down there. That like that. So I'm glad Vince doesn't have his hands in it, because I like NXT feeling different than Raw and SmackDown.
Yes.
I like that that grittier feel and everything like that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how they utilized the invasion angle back at Survivor Series, and and NXT came out surprisingly, mostly on top with that. I can't remember what the final tally was, but didn't NXT overall kind of win Survivor Series or?
I thought they did. I mean, I might be wrong. I'm sure Beef would know that better than I would, but
yeah,
I thought they did.
It just feels like forever ago. It's like whenever I was actually like paying attention to shit. So,
yeah.
I want to.
But I mean, that's also part of the tragedy of it, is that Vince is so unplugged with NXT. Like, it seems like Triple H, HBK, and Road Dogg are pretty much the head of the show down there.
Right.
And that's a good thing. But on the other hand, it's a double-edged sword, because these guys go to the main roster, and it doesn't seem like Vince McMahon knows, or Bruce Pritchard, or whoever's making the call these days. It doesn't seem like they know what gold they have in their hands.
Yeah.
When they bring these guys up.
Oh my God.
I don't get it. It seems like they do for like a little bit, because it's not immediate, move to Raw or SmackDown and then burial. They seem to do well, but they do well for a cup of coffee and then they're gone.
Right. I just had a thought. being that you mentioned Pritchard, and the fact that, you know, obviously like Heyman got let go out of his position. Think about this. What do you think the chances are? And this is kind of real big fantasy booking, since you had mentioned CM Punk as maybe you know, somebody that you could fantasy book into being part of the new Four Horsemen stable if they revive that in AEW. What do you think the chances would be, or what do you think? How well do you think he would do? Because it's not a matter of if he would do well or not; it's how well. What it would be like to see Paul Heyman in fucking AEW.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it would happen until Brock Lesnar says that he's completely done.
Right.
Because I think Brock and Paul are too good of friends for Paul Heyman to go to AEW while Brock Lesnar's still doing like part-time stuff with WWE.
Right.
Because
no, I could see that.
I have a feeling that's now, I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that we'll see Paul Heyman again once Brock Lesnar comes back.
Right.
Because I think that's probably one of the things that Brock, you know, has in his contract. Like, hey, I want Paul Heyman here with me. I want him to be my mouthpiece. I don't want to have to worry about talking. I don't want to have to worry about, you know, memorizing scripts or, you know, memorizing promos to do. Because honestly, he doesn't. Paul Heyman does all that. Brock just comes out and looks like Brock Lesnar.
Well, and essentially that's all Brock needs to do. He just needs to be the menacing force, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that would be more work for him.
Oh yeah, no, but I agree. I agree. I agree that something like that wouldn't happen until Brock is done with WWE, you know, altogether. I also wonder then too, like if AEW would even have the money to you know, if Brock wanted to, if he wanted to come over there and fucking, you know, toy around over in AEW a little bit. But I
think with Tony Khan money, I bet they would pay him.
You think?
Oh yeah. I think they could pay him.
Yeah.
Whether or not they would want to is a different story. I don't know. But with Tony Khan money, I think they could pay him. If they really wanted to, I bet they could.
Yeah. Now again, this is just like off the wall fucking this is like throwing spaghetti at the walls in the world of wrestling. Like I don't know. I couldn't ever actually see Brock going over there because I don't know how well creatively he would agree with like Cody and the Bucks and them and stuff like that. I don't know how well things would mesh backstage and everything like that, because Brock is known to be, you know, a bit of a hothead. Yeah, a bit of a hothead and a bit of a loner backstage and everything like that. And AEW, for all intents and purposes, seems to be very, you know, very, very group oriented, very involved. You know, people are,
yeah, it's like a team.
Yeah, very, very team like mentality. Now,
if Paul Heyman did have it, like if there was something where, you know, they paid Brock to go there, or Brock was just, you know what, I've had enough. I've made my money. I'm done wrestling. I don't have any desire to go back and do it for anybody.
Right.
If Paul Heyman went to AEW, I bet he would be a tremendous asset for them.
Oh, absolutely.
On camera or not, in either role. If he was strictly an on-camera guy and had no creative input, or if he was strictly a creative guy who had no on-camera time, I think either way, he would be an asset to them.
Absolutely.
Because, he really is.
He's a mind.
He's
no mind
wrong
for the business.
on the mic.
Yeah.
He is. He could do no wrong on the mic. He's 100% every single time. And creative-wise, the man is a genius when it comes to wrestling. He's got a mind for it. And it doesn't seem like with all of the time that he's been in it, you know, back to the ECW days, it doesn't seem like he's stranded in the past. It seems like Jim Cornette can get stranded in the past. Back in the days of kayfabe and Smoky Mountain Wrestling and territories. You know, it seems like he's almost trapped there sometimes in that mindset. Where Paul Heyman seems like he's adapted with the times. He's almost like the Chris Jericho of creative.
I like
when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah.
Because Chris Jericho he recreated his character, and Paul Heyman can recreate, or not recreate, but what's the word I'm thinking about?
Reinvent.
Like, innovate. Reinvent. Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Paul Heyman can reinvent things. You know, he's not stuck in the past creative wise. So I think he would be an asset if he went there. I think it would just be a matter of convincing him to go to AEW. I think that's all going to depend on what Brock Lesnar wants to do.
Right. I got one more thing for you. This actually kind of comes off the heels of Monday Night Raw here. I had it on as background noise, so I didn't really pay close attention to the whole segment. But then again, listening to another podcast today, they talked about it. There might be another stable that we could see getting recreated here on WWE side of things, and that's a newer, maybe modern day version of the Nation of Domination.
I heard I heard ramblings about that. Who is that? Is that
It might be so from the looks of it, it might be MVP, Lashley, and now Shelton Benjamin. Because
that's the third guy, Shelton.
Yeah, because the MVP and Lashley were backstage, and R-Truth came backstage, and they said something about like, yeah, we just wanted to see, you know, if the 24/7 champ might want to come down to the ring with us. And he was like, nah, man, no, you know, whatever. I can't remember what all he said. And then Lashley was like, my mistake. What we meant to say was the new 24/7 champ. And, you know, Benjamin hits him from behind and rolls him up, whatever. But they had a small interaction with Farouk backstage before that part happened or something. And I can't remember, but he said something along the lines of like, there's another way to do this or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah, like so.
Oh my.
Yeah, we might see a modern day Nation of Domination coming up, which would be kind of cool, especially right now. With everything that's happened socially in the United States and everything like that. Now, I know Vince doesn't usually like to like jump right on the political bandwagon of things and doesn't like to get too political in his creative and stuff, but we do know Vince likes to push the hot buttons issues and stuff like that. And he does like to dance around it a little bit. So what better way to have a stable form up in the wake of everything that's going on with, you know, black culture in America and Black Lives Matter and everything like that. Man, that literally could write money in itself. It's just a matter of, you know, who you would put in it or anything like that. I'm going to toss another I know they're on different brands and everything, but somebody else that could be good for that, and they kind of almost started it when they first introduced them way back when, would be Xavier Woods. Because he's got the literally and figuratively intellectual chops for it. I mean, the dude's you know, the dude's been studying. I don't know if he got his PhD or not, but I mean, fucking.
I thought he did. He's a very smart guy.
I wasn't sure if he actually like got it yet or not, but either way, fucking Dr. Xavier Woods, man, like, you know, he could be that mouthpiece or whatever. I mean, that's kind of essentially like they almost seemed like that was the way they were going to bring in the New Day, and then they went to like the preacher route, and then it became not that, and it
became more fun than something more militant and serious.
Yeah.
Look, I would be over the moon excited if they revitalized the Nation of Domination and brought them back, and actually called it the Nation of Domination, had the salute by any means necessary. I would be 100% behind that. That probably would actually get me to tune back in to a weekly show on a regular basis, because I would want to see what they did with that. That was a great stable back in the day. And like you said, with the current political climate that there is right now, what a great way to capitalize on that. And not only capitalize on it, but feature some of your guys who are, what's the politically correct term? Black?
African American? Yeah.
Like,
I was waiting, I was like, where are you going with this?
No, I mean, it's like,
no, I do.
Seriously though, like, what a great way to feature some of that talent, and also capitalize on the fact that, like, hey, you know what? You know, we're going to get behind this, you know, we're going to, storyline wise, we're going to get behind this climate here. You know, African Americans are being held down. We're being hurt by police. You know, man, that would write itself.
Some of the best art that you find is art imitating life. I mean, you know.
Yes, I would be all for the Nation of Domination coming back. I think they would be able to really capitalize on that stable,
Yeah.
while at the same time, business-wise capitalize on it, while at the same time being able to feature a lot of these younger guys, maybe even not so younger because I guess Lashley and MVP, but feature some of these guys in a prominent role that have been historically in the mid-card section.
Right. Right.
I mean, you could really boost up some of these guys. I think that would be a tremendous idea.
Yeah.
I'd be very entertained to see that.
Yeah. I would as well.
Now, I hope if they do it right.
Right.
And I hope it's not like a half-assed attempt at it.
Right.
That would be the disappointing thing for me, was if they actually brought back the Nation of Domination and had these new guys in it, and it was just like real tossed aside, almost like thrown together, tossed aside, just meh. Like if they bring them back, they need to go hardcore and really let these guys, for lack of a better term, dominate. Bring them in and just let them clean house. Show how powerful they can be. If they do it, I want them to do it right, and I will be a big fan of that.
I think, and regardless, what stable it is or anything like that, I don't know why Vince has always been against such an anti-stable guy, especially when you have as deep of a roster as you have, and even if the guys aren't in the ring, getting guys out there on TV time and getting them just there, like even if they're just ringside, how often do we see, with the New Day? It was always like Big E and Kofi in the ring, and Xavier was out at ringside playing the fucking trombone.
Yeah, but the thing was, though, he was getting TV time. He was getting exposure.
Yes,
his face was on TV.
Exactly.
So that is a great way to use stables, to where you can get these guys out in front of the camera. You can showcase some of their talent that's not necessarily in the ring, because if they're ringside, they have to be able to demonstrate a different degree of talent and entertainment than the guys in the ring.
Yep.
And I think it really gives the opportunity for these guys to show that they're more than in the ring, slamming around, punching around. They get to showcase their talents in a broader scope. I'm a big fan of stables, and I just don't know why Vince is so poo-pooey on them.
Absolutely, because the whole point of a stable eventually is to, whenever you inevitably, break them up or whatever, you have somebody that's supposed to be like your breakaway star or whatever, and you probably, maybe you get one top tier guy, you get like good tag team out of it or whatever. I mean, like I don't see how, unless it's just badly booked or creative wise, you can't just come up with anything. Like, I don't see the negative to having a stable, but like I said, I mean, especially when you have as deep of a roster as WWE does, and you're having guys that you're not putting on TV, and they're maybe getting on like an episode of fucking Superstars or whatever that's on the network. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Why not utilize what you got? So,
and if you think about the long game too, eventually it's going to happen that the Undisputed Era is going to come from NXT and go to Raw or SmackDown.
I know.
Now, why not have at least a couple stables already positioned on Raw or SmackDown for these groups to fight against?
Right.
Because now, again, I don't know shit about wrestling. It's just from what I've watched, but it's more entertaining for me to watch a stable feud with another stable than it is to watch a stable feud with a bunch of random guys.
Yeah.
So if you're going to put Undisputed Era in a tag team match, why are you putting them in a tag team match against a bunch of random guys that you're just going to throw together week after week, when you can put them in a package with another stable or with two other stables and let those tag teams feud? Let the singles guys in those stables feud with each other. And if you think about back in the heyday of D-Generation X and the Nation, there were tag team matches that those guys had. There were singles matches that those stables had. And then there were like full-on stable versus stable matches where they would do, like a 4-on-4.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they would have a street fight with, all of them, fighting together at once.
And you also
have so many options.
Well, you also had a couple other stables that were maybe lesser tiered stables, like DOA, Los Boricuas, whoever. Like, I mean,
There
yeah,
were options out there to do stuff with. It wasn't just like, okay, this established stable is going to take on like these 2 or 3 rando guys that have nothing to do this week, so we're going to throw them in a tag team with each other.
right.
I always hated that. I always hated when random guys got thrown into a tag team with each other, especially whenever they would fight against already established teams, because it made it less legitimate regardless of the outcome. It made it less legitimate for me. Like if you saw the New Age Outlaws take on Random 1 and Random 2 as a tag team, like
Yeah,
it didn't have as much impact for me as it did whenever you had like the New Age Outlaws versus like the Legion of Doom or DOA, or established tag teams.
right. I
I like
agree.
to see established tag teams fight each other, not just one established tag team and a team of 2 random guys that had nothing to do this week, so they got thrown together.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
honestly, it doesn't mesh as well in the ring because guys who are used to being singles guys who don't have anything particular to do this week, if they get thrown together in a tag match, they're not going to mesh as well
Right. I
because
mean,
they're not used to being together. They're not used to being in a tag team, and they're not used to wrestling with each other. So they're not really a cohesive team.
exactly. I mean, and that's why I think, especially when it comes to tag team wrestling, AEW's fucking got their finger on the pulse of that. I mean,
Oh yeah, because
yeah.
they put teams together.
Oh yeah.
They let them work with each other, so they become used to each other, and they really are. They're effective teams in the ring. So when one effective team goes against another effective team, it just lends itself to a better match.
Right. Right.
So they really do have that model hands down. Like they're nailing it on that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens this week. It's now Tuesday night, so it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night with AEW and with NXT. Now that we're past the Great American Bash, we're past Fight for the Fallen and Fighter Fest. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we'll see what the ratings do, because it's
Yeah.
both just normal shows now, right?
I
A normal
believe-
NXT show and a normal AEW show.
I believe so. So I mean, and I may have it on for a little bit before I do my stream tomorrow night as well too. So we'll see. I'm dipping my toes back in the water. I'm trying to work it back into the schedule. But yeah, if I'm gonna get more kerfufflery and nonsense that like a fucking eye for an eye match, I don't know. I may be sitting out and making more guest spots than not on this podcast.
Telling you, I disagree with the outcome.
I know. I will let you guys fight that out come tomorrow night or Thursday night. I mean, I'll be interested to see what comes
Beef
of
and I are
that.
gonna have words. I know we're gonna have words.
But hey, real quick, before I wrap up here, just want to take a quick second to recognize the sponsors because we have some good sponsors. We got Sean Tischler running his the Facebook group page IWC Clearfield. Make sure to go check him out. IWC actually just had their back in business event this past Saturday at the Brownsville Drive-In. So yes, you were correct on last episode.
Ooh, sweet.
Yeah, it's and I sent a couple videos in the group chat there. It was really cool how they were able to do some of these entrances. They had to basically camera capture it with the drone and stuff. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so seeing Johnny Patch come to the ring, it kind of almost a la American Badass Undertaker style. He came to the ring blaring some Limp Bizkit, riding his street bike and stuff.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, go back in the group chat and scroll up a little bit. You'll see I sent a couple of them, and Andrew Palace just fucking running the ring a la Mojo Rally a la fucking Ultimate Warrior. Like that dude just just blows up the whole way through the ring and running around and everything. It's great.
Nice.
But yeah, it was I'm considering purchasing that on the IWC network and going back and giving it a watch, because definitely, again, we always say it, support your local indies. They do a lot of great work, and these are going to be the stars of tomorrow, like your Wardlows now in AEW. He came from IWC. Britt Baker. God, I know there was at least 4 in the last year, and I'm blanking on them right now just because my mind's in go mode. But anyways, go check out IWC. And then also head on over and check out Casual Gaming Dad. That's me. We got merchandise over at Gould Gaming. We got the P3 shirts in Casual Gaming Dad's section of the shop over at Gould Gaming, which actually is currently getting a new facelift on the Gould Gaming website, and all the streamers are gonna have kind of like their own like kind of almost like their own little mini web page of stuff. So keep your eye on that. I know. I want to say I was asking Taylor, and I think he said they were going to be finishing up. They were going to be finishing up mine today, and somebody else's possibly. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, how it all turns out. And
nice.
So yeah, head on over to Gould Gaming, get the P3 T-shirt, and check out Casual Gaming Dad on Facebook. Check him out on YouTube, and over on Twitch. Casual Gaming Dad 84. That feels so weird talking about myself in the third person, but god damn it, I mean, whatever. If the Rock can do it, and Adam Cole can do it, why the fuck can't I?
That's
Obviously,
right.
Not a comparison to those other two.
Dang it, that's right.
But well, hey man, thank you for suggesting this little get together here. It was good talking to you, and yeah, go give the other two hell on the podcast on Thursday, man. Why don't you go ahead and take us out?
I'm telling you, Beef and I are gonna have words. Probably not so much Poot. I think he'll probably remain pretty neutral in it. But Beef and I are gonna probably come to blows over this, because I'm not gonna relinquish that title. I don't recognize that end. It was stupid.
What will the advocate to the advocate do? Ooh. Tune in and find out. Woo!
Oh, that's right. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for listening to this little impromptu show, and the P3 podcast will be back recording on Thursday for a full episode. And until then, keep your dicks to yourself. Don't get in any trouble, and don't lose an eye.
Good night, folks.